So apparently Xbox Game Pass is bad for gaming industry. It's bad for developers, it's bad for consumers, it's bad for physical media, it's bad for everyone. That's what some people say. But is it really the case? Let's look into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I would like to talk about Xbox Game Pass. Now there's quite a lot of coverage when it comes to Game Pass right now because Microsoft is making quite a lot of changes to Game Pass and they offer Game Pass via the streaming services like Amazon Fire, TV Stick and that kind of stuff, right? So there's a lot of news surrounding Game Pass. So obviously there's a lot of interest in this topic, so people use it to, as always, hate on Game Pass for some reason. So today I would like to tackle a couple of things really when it comes to Game Pass, because I hear all kinds of arguments used against the Game Pass. Game Pass is bad for developers. Game Pass is bad for gaming industry. Game Pass is bad for consumers. Game Pass kills physical media and all kinds of weird stuff. But so let's tackle some of these claims individually, or should I say one by one. So first off, it's bad for consumers. So how is it bad for consumer? Like, tell me. I mean, first of all, nobody is forcing you to use Game Pass, right? I mean, that's it, right? Nobody is telling you to. That's the only way you can play games. You can still go buy your games on PlayStation, Xbox, PC, mobile, you name it. You can still buy these games physically. I mean, those that are available physically, obviously, because not all games are being printed to the DVDs or Blu-rays anymore. But that's another subject for another video, I guess. And so, it's an option, right? I mean, it's nice to have an option, right? And for me personally, Game Pass is great. I like to experiment and basically try out different games, different genres. I've played so many cool games that I would never buy or play before, but now I do because I like them. I did give them a try and I did enjoy them, right? Now I will say this though, Game Pass is not for everyone, because if you are somebody who plays 1 or 2, 3 games a year, and maybe especially like kids, they play Minecraft. Although you have to pay for Minecraft, but Fortnite is or Warzone, these are free. Like, there's more and more free-to-play games. So, and these titles don't require the Xbox Live Gold. That's how it was called back in the days. So you don't have to pay for the online multiplayer anymore on consoles for these free-to-play games. So that's good. So if you are one of these kids or you are one of those guys that just enjoy these 2 or 3 games, you don't need Game Pass, that's for sure, right? But nobody is saying that Game Pass is for everyone, right? If you enjoy different games, especially when it comes to these big releases, Game Pass is a great value, and so it's a great value for consumers. Now, when it comes to developers, people say it's bad for developers because people don't buy their games. But, with Game Pass, that's another, again, nobody is forcing anyone into Game Pass. Nobody will force you to buy and subscribe to Game Pass, and nobody will force a developer to subscribe to put their games in Game Pass. For a lot of these developers, it's just extra money, right? I mean, some developers put their games day one there because it's extra revenue, because Microsoft is literally paying them for that game, right? So instead of getting money from the consumers, they get that money from Microsoft, right? And they negotiate the amount of money they are being paid and that kind of stuff. On top of that, they still get On top of that money they get from Microsoft, they get to, they are being paid for all copies of games that are being sold, because the fact that they put games on Game Pass doesn't stop any of these developers, publishers from selling their games as they used to do, right? I mean, you can still buy these games. You actually get discounts having Game Pass, actually. So, again, how is it bad for developers? Nobody's forcing developers, and clearly these developers that do put their games in Game Pass, and there's actually quite a lot of them, I mean, it must have been a good deal for them because they did it, right? And there's a lot of returning developers and games, and or games that, for example, that are 3-6 months old, they sold whatever copies they were planning to sell, and now Game Pass is just extra revenue for them, right? Because again, Microsoft is paying them money, right? So another thing is Xbox Game Pass profitable? I mean, I don't know, and I don't care, and I don't think anyone should care, really, because and it's not even about, it's not my money, but what I will say is that Microsoft is one of the biggest corporations, not because they were providing services or products that were not profitable. They are good at selling stuff, and they are good at making money. So Game Pass is 7 years old now. If Game Pass didn't make money for Microsoft, they would shut it down completely years ago. I mean, that's all what I will say. I don't have any spreadsheet in front of me. I'm not even going to try to analyze the thing, right? But the fact of the matter is that they are growing slowly, but they are growing. They are over 30 million now. They raised the prices, so that wasn't really nice, but hey, it is what it is. It's still a good value. So yeah, I wouldn't really worry about profitability of that service. So it's kind of weird. And so generally speaking, I don't understand the whole hate about Game Pass. I hear that Game Pass is killing physical media, physical releases, right? Because people just want to play and rent. So let's talk about renting games first. Renting games is nothing new, right? Renting games have been done like 20 years ago. Blockbuster, I think, did that in the past, and nobody was actually complaining about it, right? So it was the only difference between Game Pass right now, or PlayStation Network right now, and Blockbusters, or I think there was a GameFly company as well that was renting games. The only difference is that you download your games on via Game Pass, and back in the days you would either go to Blockbuster, so they would send you the actual physical media, right? That's it. But you would still rent it for a number of days. You would pay for it, and yeah, I mean, the only difference was the distribution, of the actual game, but the service was pretty similar, right? So how is it different? Wasn't Blockbuster killing gaming industry back then? Now Game Pass is doing that? It's crazy. So it's kind of weird when you hear that kind of stuff, and I don't know, for me, Game Pass is, despite the fact that it actually got more expensive now, there's a lot of different deals you can find, and I mean, listen, at the end of the day, for me, I find a lot of games that I like to play there. So sorry about that. So I don't understand what's going on here, guys, and to be honest with you, it's just crazy that there's so much hate. It's like everyone is blaming Game Pass for everything. Another thing, a new thing really, is like the other day I've seen somebody blaming a Game Pass for other games not selling well, right? And funny enough, like you can actually see that on both Xbox and PlayStation. And first of all, it's not true that Xbox Game Pass subscribers don't buy games. I mean, yes, they don't buy these games day one that are on Game Pass, but they still have to buy other games, right? I mean, it's that simple. But another thing is that like there is a new trend these days that unfortunately there is this generational shift, and I'm not talking about hardware. I'm talking about new gamers like me, myself, my generation. I guess we were raised with like single player games, buying games in general, and not necessarily wasting so much time in multiplayer games, although that's a new thing anyway. But kids these days that are growing up and they are they will be, and they are kind of, some of the younger guys out there, they've been raised like, even my brother, he doesn't buy games, he just play like all these multiplayer games all the time, right? So he will spend some money on microtransactions, but not necessarily buy games, because all he does, he just play like 2 or 3 games all the time. Fortnite, I mean, I'm not saying that he plays Fortnite. He actually plays World of Warcraft and League of Legends, I think, or something like that. But like looking at my son, which is 11, and his colleagues, I mean, all they play all day is just Fortnite, Minecraft, and Brawl Stars, and on mobile, and Roblox, and they will play GTA or FIFA once, here and there. But funny enough, like I like single player games, so my son will see me playing some game, and then he will go and try the same game on his own console. So he will actually probably be buying games in the future. But his colleagues are like, all they need is just like these 4 or 5 games as service, and that's, I mean, they may buy a console to play these games, but they won't be buying games on that console because they don't need it. So really, it's not Game Pass problem. It's not Game Pass killing sales of games. It's like these continuously developed and updated games as service that are killing sales of games, right? Because Fortnite, Minecraft, World of Warcraft, and I mean, World of Warcraft is actually making a lot of money because you have to pay extra money. I mean, the subscription. I mean, but like, I'll give you a great example. There was a rumor, not sure if it's true, but there's something to it. Apparently, there was 1 or 2 story DLC for GTA 5, but Rockstar decided to cancel it because the GTA 5 online was making more money than these DLCs. So there wasn't any point of developing and putting money into that when they were just making so much money and even more money on the GTA Online, right? So these online games, that's what really kills sales of games, and and unfortunately, that's not really going to change, because like I said, like guys in 20s, early 20s, or like teens these days, when they will start earning money and buying their own hardware and games later. I mean, most of these gamers, these guys have been raised with iPhones and tablets. They were getting all these games for free, and they've been raised with Fortnite and Call of Duty. I mean, you have to pay for Call of Duty, but Warzone is free, and there's a lot of guys playing these games. So it's not Game Pass problem. It's the fact that these games these service games as service games changed gaming industry big time, right? And but that's not going away. So I think right now and that's what is being discussed right now, games needs to be cheaper. I mean, games needs to be cheaper to produce. So that's the problem. The bloated budgets, like $400 million. That, like, I mean, how many copies you have to sell in order to recoup money? And what about profits, right? I mean, you know, making game for like 20-30 million, that's one thing, but like 300. So, you know, that's the problem, right? Like, for example, I mean, you've got like games cost $70 these days, right? So you have to sell a lot, really, right? I mean, you know, at the end of the day, if you sell 1 million copies, that's like $70. Sorry, that's $7 million. But that's $70 million. But some of that money goes to like distributors, marketing, and that kind of stuff, right? So you only get some of that money. So if you make a game for 30-40 million, right, then you obviously spend some money on marketing and that kind of stuff, right? And, you know, rest of it goes to like, you know, third-party suppliers and distributors. Well, then at least selling 1 million copies, you can call that a success, right? But if you make a game that costs $300 million, then you have to sell even more. Like, so that's why like selling 5 million sometimes is not enough. So that's what I'm saying is that. So that's why, you know, when I hear Game Pass is to blame for everything, it's crazy. That's not the way it works. So yeah, guys, listen. So that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.